We have a special friend joining in today, Richa Fell D'Cruze, and she is very passionate. She is a YouTuber. She dances. She is also a proud ally for LGBTQ community, and she loves spreading positivity and humor, and ensures that everybody is happy around her. So that's a bit about what I know about Richa. Uh, so, Richa, over to you. Maybe you can tell our new friends about yourself much more than I can. So,
Great. Thanks so much, Ravi. First of all, thank you so much for having me here on your show today. Um, I really love the fact that you're spreading this positivity, right, to so many people who have been stuck at home since the lockdown and even after that. So first of all, kudos to you and the WurkTV, right? So thank you so much for this entire initiative. It's amazing, right? So a little bit about myself. Yeah, like Ravi said, my name is Richa. I'm very passionate about spreading positivity. I'm the oldest of all my siblings. I grew up in a very liberal family. I feel like my parents raised a very strong woman. A lot of people say that to me, so I'm very passionate about that as well. I wouldn't say empowering women, but making sure everybody gets to do what they want to do without harming anybody else. So I'm very particular about that, right? You can't step on somebody else and then make yourself happy. That's not really the kind of vibe I go for, at least. And when I share as well, that's just I like to ask people to just make sure that they're very considerate about people around us. I have a son who's 3.5 years old. I just had to pack him off so that with my husband, who's super supportive, right? That's the whole reason I'm able to both shuffle work as well as home and do a little bit of YouTube. I used to do a lot of it earlier, but now it's just since the time my son is turned a toddler, it's not that easy. But yeah, I try and do things that keep me in a positive frame of mind. Um, I've, I've, I've had a career of about 10 plus years now in a FinTech organization, which is amazing. I've had an amazing career. I started from being a CSR to a trainer to into management. I was a frontline manager for about close to 5 years now, and now I'm a surveillance manager. Work's been great. There have been ups and downs in life, but then yeah, that's how life is, right? I wouldn't say I've had the perfect life, right? A lot of people who see me, or a lot of people who know me, who don't know me that well, but have just seen my videos or just seen the way that I am with my sisters and family, they would think, hey, this girl too anyways doesn't have any cares in the world, everything is hunky dory, but that's not how it's been, I've seen a lot of difficulties as well, much earlier in our life. And that's what made us strong, actually. That's what made me, my sister strong, my parents as well. Again, my parents are separated, so that's another reason why, I've gotten to see a lot of the world at a very, very early age. And again, the good thing is that they've never made it awkward for us. They've always been cordial with each other. And that's something that I really appreciate, right? So I got to have the best from both. So that's something that I like to say. That's all I want to share for now. You'll get to know more anyway.
So that's nice. I mean, I really like the way you described the way your parents separated, but they've respected each other, and they've not let the kids feel some of them do it the complete messy way, and where the kids have a lot of impact on that. But good that I really like the way they've moved on, but still not impacted on you. That's nice. So I've seen your YouTube channel, Richa, and it's pretty good. Last one and the trailer seems to be of how to set up the workstation. So I have the video. Let me just quickly play that. so that our audience will also get to connect what you're doing on your YouTube channel. So here we go.
Hi friends, so today I'm going to show you how I'm setting up my home office. I know a lot of us have had to switch to setting up our home office at home, especially during this COVID-19. So what I'm going to do for you is I'm just going to show you how you can, with very minimal stuff, set up your home office. Alright, so let's get started. Find a quiet corner where you want to set up your space, which is well lit. What I've done is I've added a carpet under my chair so it doesn't slip. You could also use like any kind of quotes. For me, real plants if you have them. I've also added a keyboard and my ergonomic chair, then that will be even better. You may need an extension box if, voila, that's it. Your simple and easy work from home setup is all ready for you to work and be productive.
Yeah, friends. So that's a gist of Richa Fell's YouTube channel. So do follow her. So Richa, you're able to hear me, okay?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
we have something for you today. I mean, you're our special guest. So yeah. So we thought we'll celebrate your birthday. This is my
Oh,
wife.
thank you. You picked on that. Oh my God, I was trying to. I was
Happy
trying to avoid
birthday!
it. Thank you. So sweet of you. So sweet of you. Thank you
So
so much.
yeah, many happy returns
Returns
of the
of the
day. So
day.
you're our first guest who's celebrating the birthday, and coincidence. I don't know whether you planned this.
Oh,
Have your birthday on your live
so
show.
I was so busy with work. I was so busy with work when Addie called me and she said, we'd like for you to go on this. There's a talk show and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, Monday is fine. I can't do 5 because I'll be at work. So I'll do 11. And I didn't even realize that Monday was my birthday. I was like, oh God. So yeah, but thank you so much.
So, shall we?
Yeah, so blow it. So you have to blow it so hard that
Okay. Happy
happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Richa. Happy birthday to you. So, by the way, she is my wife, Sirisha.
Hi.
I figured.
She is the
Thank you
creator.
so much.
She is the creator of this lovely
You made
cake
cake
with
for
some
me.
flowers.
I already stuffed my face with 2 cakes already. But thank you so much. So
My
kind
kids
of
will
yours.
have
Thank
it.
you so much.
So the credit for this goes to, this idea goes to Julan, who's actually celebrated 2 of my birthdays online like this with my team members. So the idea credit goes to her. But yeah, we are blessed. We're honored that you're here
Have a nice
on
day.
the show.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Good one. So we are lucky. Okay, so that's the YouTube channel. So friends, do take time out and pass your wishes to Richa, whoever is watching this particular episode and not aware. I'm sure all of you would be aware if you're already connected with her. So Richa, so we have some questions for you. Before we start with the rapid fire questions, I have some questions for you. Why did you choose you were proudly saying you're a proud ally of LGBT. So why is that?
Yeah, so the one reason for that, are you able to hear me, Ravi?
Yeah, I can.
There's no background noise, right? Great. One reason for that, Ravi, is very early on in my life, right? I've seen my parents, the way that they've interacted with a lot of people. My mom's been into a little bit of social work. My dad's been very helpful. Not really from an organization standpoint, but just being themselves. They've always been out there trying to help people. That's always been their intention. And I have pretty early on in my life seen my mom have a lot of friends who were not just from India. They were from abroad. She had this knack of just connecting with people very easily, my mom. So I've seen that, and then I've grown up with this idea that everybody deserves to be loved, right? Everybody, no matter who you are, you could come from a really poor background, you could be a really rich person, right? You could also be somebody who's very famous, or maybe somebody who people don't know, maybe somebody like me, like a lot of people do not know me now that we're connecting on this platform. Maybe I'll get to know a little more people, but then as I moved on, and I kept seeing there was a lot of injustice happening, right, to people who are from the LGBTQIA community, right? And I have a few friends. I would say I have a lot of friends from the community. And, just knowing that they have to think twice about having to even take a house on their own, right? Staying with a person that they love, right, is such a big ordeal for them, They've got to think twice about going out. They've got to think twice about how they behave, right? There's a lot of things that they have to, which you and I may not even have to do, right? And that's something that something's not right with the way that the world is functioning, right? So the only thing that I like to share with a lot of people is that, hey, they are people as well. They're just normal people like you and me, right? The only thing is that their choices are different from what you and I have made, maybe, right? And maybe for them, our choices seem weird, right? So you can't hold somebody, you can't label them for their choices. You can't. I mean, we do a lot of labeling subconsciously because of the way that people have been. Our culture is like that, or maybe there's a lot of things that have added to it, right? It's not just that kids grew up that way, but it's just that there's a lot of taboo that has been there, which is going away. At least in my circles that I see, the places that I am at and things like that, it seems like people are starting to normalize that, but there's still a long way to go.
Yeah.
So not a lot of people who are straight, right, stand up and say, you know what, I support the LGBTQIA community. Not a lot of people do that, right? Sure. And you and I need to normalize that, because if you and I stand up and share that, hey, I have friends who are from the LGBTQIA group, or just be normal, right? That goes a long way, because there are so many people, you'll be surprised, and I'm sure if you've read, there'll be so many people who want to express themselves, want to express that, they are maybe of a different ideology from their sexuality perspective, but they're doubtful. Will you even be okay with that? If I share it, are you going to shun me, right? So when what I feel is, when we as straight people, right, go ahead and just share, you don't even have to talk to them. You just have to be very vocal that you are supporting it, right? So when you are vocal about that, it could be a post, it could be a Facebook post, it could be an Instagram post, it could just be in your regular circle. And the most important thing is not laughing at jokes that make them uncomfortable, right? There are lots of times we're in groups, we're laughing at, hey, look at that guy, he's walking like a girl, or look at that girl, she acts like a guy, and things like that, right? And subconsciously, or maybe just without realizing, we just laughed at those jokes, but we don't know how much of pain that has caused to another person, right? And if we just stop to think, and I don't think any one of us have done that intentionally, right? No, I don't. At least I believe that we wouldn't have done that intentionally. So maybe just, if you could just go ahead and post saying, something that is in support of them, you may be the person that they will talk to before they decide to take some extreme measures, right? There's so many suicide rates that come up for this group, right? Because they're not able to express themselves. So maybe that's the whole thought behind it.
I agree with you. We have to, I think what you're trying to do and what we have to do is spread the word that it is normal, it is okay to be like that, rather than a curiosity. Yeah, dekha hai wo aise hain, the new tenants are like this, or the new owners are like this. I keep debating this. I'll just share a small incident. My thought process. We have stag parties. We have men who actually gather and drink in parties, corporate parties, and all that. When all the guys sit and drink together, they really enjoy. Somehow, I'm not really comfortable. I am comfortable having a drink when it's like a family get together, or with a combination of people. Just men talking about it. I feel. I mean, I know what are the topics, common topics which will evolve, and I feel it's fine. And I always, every time they say, why Ravi, why do you skip this? I don't have fun, when I'm sitting with men. So, and if you look at the same thing, मतलब लड़के लड़के बैठ के क्या बात करेंगे? I don't see any reason why. And same thing, if you just reiterate, when men and men are having so much of fun when they are partying, why is that an issue when they want to live the entire life together? Okay.
Yeah.
So same thing with women. Kitty parties and all that. They have fun, and that's like it happens once in a month, but that's like the best moment for their life. They're waiting for the next kitty party. But the same women together, it becomes a big issue. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's just that the thought process we have to change and move forward. It's a good point. I think I also support this, and I'll also put my status somewhere.
Thank you.
So, any events which are happening, like talk or any positivity events that are like or online that is happening, supporting this, do let me know. I would love to be part of it, and
Sure.
somewhere we have to realize that it's about positivity and love at the end of the day. Who's comfortable with what? Gender and all that doesn't really matter. There are parents, there is a father and son who are staying together because he lost his wife and this thing. There are mom and daughter, single mom and daughters, spending their entire life. They can do what's wrong with the other gender doing it.
Yeah.
So good point. So Richa, we want to know more about you. So we have some rapid fire questions.
I'm sure you thought them up very well, because I've been following all of your rapid fire rounds, and you come up with some really innovative ones sometimes.
Honestly, these are not designed for you because our focus was more in preparing that particular cake in the last minute and getting that took the priority than the questions. So yeah, we'll be easy on you because of that. So what's the funniest joke by heart?
Surprisingly, I don't tell jokes. Okay, I'm just I say things that turn out to be funny sometimes. I'm just sarcastic sometimes, and only my friends who are very close to me will get it. A lot of other people will just find it as okay, she's just being sweet or whatever. But then only my really close friends and people, like my husband is funny. He's hilarious. Okay, he wears a funny hat in our house. I'm not. I just like to have a good time. That's it. I like to laugh, joke, and also I don't know any jokes by heart. He would pick up a joke and he'll remember it. I mean, there's this joke in our place. I mean, at my place it's just me, my husband, and my son. So just three of us stay. And so he's the one who usually cracks the jokes, and I'm always laughing. So I keep telling him the neighbors must be thinking that I'm mad because I keep laughing. It's either that or I'm yelling that, hey, Travis, stop doing what you're doing, right? Because it's one or two. It's either I'm yelling or I'm laughing. So yeah, that's
So
just...
what was the last joke of your husband which you remember, where you laughed out loud and you laughed out so loud that you started worrying about your own neighbors?
Yeah, I seriously, I can't, like I said, I'm very, very bad with remembering things. I mean, even names, I'm very bad with remembering names. So sorry, but you don't get an answer.
Okay, which charity or charitable cause is most deserving of money?
You know what? That's a very tricky question to answer, right? I won't say that there's anything more deserving. It all depends on what's your I wouldn't say calling, but what is more close to your heart, right? For me, anything that anyone is doing to help someone is close to me. Before I had my son, I used to be more on helping people, like charitable causes that were more women oriented, like abandoned women's and the ones who are going through abuse and those that group. Which still continues because, again, like I said, my mom has been a huge influence in that part of our life, right? Where we've seen her help a lot of women, going through troubles in their married life or, with men, basically. But once I had my son, right, a lot of things have changed. Everything I think about now is more from do kids have enough, right? Do kids have enough, like especially orphans, especially children who are left on their own, right? So these two causes currently are very, very close to my heart. And then, of course, anything that has to do with the LGBTQ network or that group, right? That entire community is something that I try and be, and contribute to. But then again, it's not that we go around announcing what we're doing, right? But that's the causes currently that are very close to my heart.
Good one. So what is this passion about heels?
Heels? Oh my God. All right. So if you would have known, if you knew me normally, like without, before you've spoken to me here, you'll remember me only with my heels. Okay. So that's like that's a given. Like if people talk about me, then they know that I own a lot of heels. I own a lot of heels. I wear a lot of heels. I go dancing in my heels. There are times like in the lockdown when I was bored of not dressing up and going out, I literally got dressed up. I wore my heels and I was at home. So I just love high heels. And heels are not just those small ones, huh? So they have to be proper 5-inch. Proper 5-inch bade wale. So it cannot be like small ones. And luckily, my dad was 6 feet, right, tall, and my husband's also quite tall. So, and I'm 5'6", so I'm 5'6". So imagine if I wear my heels in my friend circle, I'm always the tallest one. So they're like, why do you wear your heels? You're already so tall. But the point is not that I wear my heels to look tall. I wear my heels because I like my heels. So yeah, that's one thing.
Good one. You mentioned that your music is more country and EDM, which are like complete contrast of to each other. So what channel do you really stream when you're listening to country?
So I know you asked a similar kind of a question to one of the guests that you had on your channel, where you asked them what was the last song they downloaded. So I was preparing for that. I didn't download any song because I'm a very Wink Music, Amazon Music kind of person. I'm from that genre, and I stream a lot of YouTube playlists. So country is more because of my folks, right? We're Anglo-Indians. My husband's an Anglo-Indian, and then my in-laws. I share a very, very great relationship with them. They treat me almost like their own child, which is amazing. And I pray that everybody get to have relationships like that. So they are crazy country fans, right? So a lot of country music plays in our house, and currently I listen to a lot of Blake Shelton, though he's quite old. It's not like he's new, but then his music I love. I also love a lot of Bob Marley. I listen to a lot of EDM. When I want to just dance it out, then I'll be listening to EDM. And my son loves my kind of music, so he loves country, he loves EDM. The only thing that I don't like is, of course, rock, because my husband is crazy about rock music, and I've never heard rock music before. Can you believe it? I've never heard rock, but I've heard country rock. So, okay, some sort of rock.
Yeah. So there is a prerequisite for understanding rock music. You have to experience it. So you have to go to hard rock, really experience hard rock there, with, waving your hair like this, which I can't do. I also try. So after that, you'll start loving hard rock.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the prerequisite for hard rock. You have to experience it before you, relish it. So
Yeah.
as soon as the lockdown opens and everything eases out, so with your husband, go to Hard Rock, do that movement.
Yeah.
Good. Next question. If magic was real, and what spell would you try and learn first?
If magic was real, right? I would just try to cast a spell on the world that makes everybody just want to do good to people, right? Just be good, be kind. That's it. You don't need anything else. Because if you start being kind to people, animals, things that you are having around your place, nature, a lot of the problems that we are currently facing in the world, per se, right, will will reduce to a great extent, right? The crimes we hear, the amount of lots of stuff that's happening, the nature, the fires, and all of this. I feel that if we are considerate, we just need to be considerate. We don't have to be passionate about it. We just have to be considerate about another human being, another thing, the nature, and stop thinking that whatever we are collecting, all this money, all this things, materialistic things, we're not going to take it with us to the grave. That's the reality. So why get into things that are that make you get, like, they say, right, somebody else's curses, right? You don't want to see somebody else shouldn't be crying because of you, right? Your their tears will never let you flourish. So if everybody can just be kind and be considerate, that would be the spell that I would want to cast on the world.
Good one, because that will avoid, we don't need cops, we don't need army. I think all this spending is like completely gone.
Yeah.
Good one. Yeah. What game have you spent most hours playing?
Playing.
Yeah.
I'll say basketball. Though I've stopped playing since I joined work, which is like 10 years ago. But yeah, that was one game I used to play a lot. And that's one outdoor game. All right. So recently, because we're in lockdown and we're at home. So Uno is our rescue, especially in break times. So both my husband and I work from home. So in break time, which we realized that we were not taking breaks. We were not taking breaks, and we were sitting at our desk for hours and hours together because both of us are in management roles. And things start becoming so hectic that we figured out that we were having headaches, and then we were not taking breaks on time. We were not drinking water and all of that. So then we said, okay, we will make sure that we're taking breaks on time, at least scheduled breaks, so that you can take some time off. And that 15-minute or that 20-minute break that we're taking is playing a game, because any one of us are winning. Currently, I'm in the lead, though he's not gonna like it. Currently I'm in the lead. So every day that turns over. So it's a day's game. So currently, as of yesterday, I was at 7 and he was at 3. Though he's not gonna like it because I'm broadcasting it here. But too bad, I'm on the show.
So Uno and basketball. So have you ever tried playing your basketball with your heels on?
With my heels on? Yeah, only once, I would say, because we were at this what do you say, gated community where we were having a party with our friends, and that gated community had a basketball court, and there were some of our friends who were playing it, and I was waiting for my ride to get back home. So we played. I mean, it's not
to go onto the field.
I mean, I'm sure if you would have liked wearing heels, you would have been like, it's okay, that's fine, we can play.
Good. So, have you ever stamped on your husband's feet and all that, right? Or anybody's feet with those heels? Ouch.
Oh my God. Yeah. So that happens a lot we have these Christmas dances, okay, in the Anglo-Indian community. We have these, they're called there's one that happens on Boxing Day. So it's very famous. It happens here in Hyderabad. Off late, it's become very famous. Earlier, it used to only be it used to only cater to the Anglo-Indian community. So only the Anglo-Indian crowd used to go there. Now, a lot of us have got married into, different groups. So everybody comes in, you and your friends and stuff. So over there, there are times when you're dancing, right? And after a few drinks, everybody is like in their own world. So the guys don't pay attention to how they're dancing. Sometimes, not always. Some guys dance amazingly well. Okay, I have a lot of friends who can jive like crazy. I have cousins. I have my own brother-in-law who's an amazing jiver. So yeah, but there are times when, because of the fact that they don't know you, or maybe they're not sure about how you dance, right? So there are times when everybody steps on each other's feet. It happens.
So
But it's very painful, not with the heels. So you don't, like I tell my friends, if you're in danger, take off your heels and you'll be safe, because you have a weapon with you as well. So
I think in the naval community, you have this is called like ball dance, and yeah, they also have it once in a year. I think during Christmas or during summer.
This is similar to that. Exactly.
What movie, picture, or video that makes you laugh no matter how often you see it?
Oh my God, I'm a big movie buff, okay? But I don't go to the theaters anymore. Like not now. It's been some time, because with kids, with my son, it's very hard to leave him and just step away and go. I can watch any rom-com any day, and I will still act like it's the first time I've watched it. So there is a movie that both me and my husband, both of us love movies. So we like to watch movies. Like we can Netflix and chill all through the day, and night. So there's this movie by Jim Carrey, right? Which is Ace Ventura.
Ace Ventura.
So I love that movie. We can watch it 100 times and we will still laugh like it's the first time we watch it. We even know the dialogues. It's like that.
Good one. Funny. Awesome movie there.
Yeah, it's a funny movie.
If animals could talk, which animal would be the most annoying?
Annoying? If I don't see, I love dogs. I love cats. I love animals in general, except for rats. So I have a phobia of rats. Okay, so I cannot see a rat. If I see a rat, I'll freak out. So that would be the annoying creature for me. I have no clue how people can have rats as pets. I mean, of course, they're not rats, they're mice, but still, how can they have? Oh my God, I'm very scared of rats. So that's my annoying feature.
Okay, what outdoor activity haven't you tried and would love to try?
I haven't tried, what's that called? The paragliding. I think it's paragliding, the one where they drop you from the sky. Yeah. So I haven't tried that, but I'm very scared to try it because I have a fear of heights. I cannot. I'm very scared of heights because there's a reason why. When I was in the third grade, I remember specifically. I was in the third grade. I went to the opposite apartment to play because I had a lot of friends in that apartment who were our friends. And that apartment at that point of time, this is around 99, right? So around 99-ish. At that point of time, that was the only apartment that had a swing in it. And we didn't have to go to the garden or to the park, right? So I went there to play, and this one, I won't say a friend, this older girl kept pushing us. Okay. And she kept pushing the swing so fast that I was like almost feeling like I'm gonna turn over. So I just let go of the swing, and I fell. I was bleeding from my mouth and stuff. So after that, I am petrified of heights. I'm scared of heights. So it's not gone away yet. So it takes me a little bit. So the place that I work, it used to be on our cafeteria used to be on the 6th floor. So to even get to that railing, right? My friends will be all sitting near the railing, my colleagues at office, and I'll be like at least a good 3 feet away from them. I'll be very far away from them, and they'll be like, "Come closer, why are you standing so far?" So I don't want to tell them that I'm scared of heights, but that's how scared I am.
My elder one is very scared of heights, but last year we went to Himachal. So we went to this place called Beer Billing. That's one of the world's, I think, top 3 beautiful places where you can do paragliding.
Okay.
He was like, no, 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 until we reached up, and but after he did it, he's like, I want to do it again. So yeah, it just takes that first effort to just go ahead.
Yeah, I know. So someone will literally have to push me out of that.
Yeah, they will do that. They'll take care of that. So anyway, somebody will be there with you.
Get on to it. I have to get on to it first. So that's the task. If they get me on, then yeah, fine. I think a year and a half ago, we've been to Philippines, right? From for a conference, which is a work conference. And my very, very good friend, right? She already knows that I'm very scared of heights, but she made sure that that I got onto the giant wheel. So they have a very huge giant wheel, which is like the eye. And this is near this volcano called Tal. All right. So we were staying there last year or earlier this year. It used to be an inactive volcano, but it started bubbling up, and it almost had ash, volcanic ash, and all of that coming down. But I did try that last year. So last before year, around that time. But while you're talking about sports, right? For all the people who love sports, I would definitely ask them to try out, kayaking, as well as, just the banana boat ride that they give you. And I experienced these two in this place called Pico de Loro, that is in Philippines. I think it's called Pico Islands. I'm not really sure, but we stayed at this hotel called Pico Sands, and it's breathtaking. If people ever want to go to a nice beachy kind of place, then this place is amazing. That was where I tried out kayaking, and as well as the banana boat ride. So they take you, unlike in Goa, right, where they just take you a little bit inside and then they get you back. Here, they literally took us out into the ocean. Like, it was like really, really deep over there, and it was fun. I mean, you suddenly realize that you are so small in comparison to the entire nature. When I turned and I looked back, and of course we had a lot of friends with us on that boat ride. I turned and looked back. We were first of all, we were petrified, because what if we fall? Because he's going at such a speed. So we are holding on to dear life onto that little boat. That looks exactly like a banana. And when we look back, we're like, oh my God, we're so far away. And if we fall, will we even be able to swim and go back? But yeah, luckily, most of us knew how to swim. But none of those mishaps happened. We all got back safe. But yeah, those two things are definitely something that everybody should try.
If
my
not,
husband's scared of water, so
not
he wouldn't try it.
Yeah, if not Philippines, please try it in Hussain Sagar. We have Hyderabad Hussain Sagar also. We have kayaking. I've tried it there. I was pretty scared of the water there, because it smells a lot, but it's pretty awesome. And I've seen, I think, 13-year-old girl who's the national player and sailing and all that. She took us inside. So it's pretty amazing. 13-year-old kid is like taking you out for sailing and kayaking. That's amazing experience. So Hyderabad also has.
Yeah, I know. I remember seeing that while passing by our lovely lake. But then, I don't think I've ever thought. I thought it was more of a club kind of a thing. I thought you have to have.
It is a club, but open for public during weekends. So weekdays they practice, and they go for these national champions and all that.
That's nice. I should try it.
Yeah, and Saturdays and Sundays they're open to public. Now I don't know. I'm not sure about whether they're open now or not. So Richard, tell something about your childhood. The most naughtiest thing you've done.
Okay. So most people don't believe this, okay, when I say it to them, but my parents can vouch for this. I was a very quiet kid. I was very quiet. I was very shy.
Okay.
I wouldn't talk to anybody unless and until they call me and they speak to me. I had a very, very small set of friends that I would only hang out with. And this was up until 10th. Around like 9. The minute I hit college, I like completely transformed.
The volcano erupted and
Yes. And my mom used to be like, you never used to even speak, and now we can't get you to stop speaking. So what happened? What happened to you? But yeah, the most naughtiest thing that I've ever done as a kid was it was me and my sister. Like I said, I was the oldest one, and then my younger sister, who's like 2 years younger to me. So we were alone at home. Of course, my mom was a working person. Dad also used to work, so they used to go out. My grandma used to be with us, which is my mom's mom. She's still with us. She takes care of us a lot. She's literally the one who raised us, right? Because they used to go out and work. So there was this one time, for some reason, we were alone at home, both of us, just me and my sister. And the person who was at home, who was babysitting us, she went out to get water. So I don't know why she went out to get water, because we usually get water. So I can't even remember why she went out to get water. And my sister, my younger sister, said, I'm hungry. So I said, okay, great. I'm going to make omelette for you. And this is like when I was like I said, I was around, I think I would have been in 3rd grade. So my sister was in 1st. So you can imagine, just 2 of us, we went to the kitchen, and for some reason, you remember those old small kerosene stoves that we used to have?
Yeah.
That was on the floor, and I tried to light it. Okay. It lit. I put the pan on it, and I went to take the egg out of the fridge, and it dropped.
Oops.
So because it fell, now before anyone comes back, we have to clean it. So I'm trying my best cleaning it, and I went around, moving it all over the place with the mop and with the cloth. And by the time that lady came back home, my house was smelling.
Yeah, I know.
And my mom, and for some reason that day my mom came back home early, and then she's like, "What is the smell?" and all of that. Oh my God, both of us. Here we go. My mom used to be the one with the tough. She was very tough on us, especially when we get naughty. But most often than not, she would only yell at us, but she would never beat us. But then that day, though, I almost got kicking, but I didn't get it because I'm the oldest one, and then Debbie is like too young. My sister's too young, so she also didn't get it. But yeah, we were like crying. I was crying. I was like, please, I'm sorry. It was funny. Now when I think back, it was funny, but I remember till date, I almost thought that she's gonna kill me, my mom, because the house is a mess.
Yeah, it just takes a small, inch of egg to, spoil the entire house,
Oh my God, yeah.
But thank God it wasn't, that was a dangerous stunt what you've done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, now that I think back, I'm like, what was I thinking? And my mom, she almost, I remember her expression because she was so freaked out that the stove was down there, and she was like, why? Because we had a gas stove, and I think they were using that for boiling water because it was in an unusual place for us. So I mean, for all the parents who have kids, please make sure that you're keeping your stuff away because we do things like this.
So now tell me, Richa, you have corporate experience. You're working for a brand. You have experience where you're doing community service directly or indirectly, and you're good at dancing. You socialize a lot. With all this experience, what would you do when you become the chief minister?
If I become the chief minister, right? So I really love this concept of yours that you started, right? It gets us to hear so much that the current government can do, right? There's so many good things that I've heard all of your podcasts, right? I've seen almost all of the shows, and the ideas are amazing, right? So for me, I remember I mentioned I was going to say this, but I want to make sure that I just say this to all of the viewers here, that all the views that I'm sharing on this platform today is personal. It does not represent any company that I work for or any organization I work for, right? Because currently we're just having a very, very, personal kind of a chat.
Yeah.
So if I became the CM, right, there are a few things that I would like to do. First of all, stricter rules for crimes against women, children, as well as older people, right? People who can't speak for themselves, the ones who are dependent on their families. You'll be surprised at the number of elderly senior citizens, I can say, who are ill-treated by their own family members, right? Because they get they still keep them at home because they get that pension and things like that. But it's very sad to hear the amount of the way that they are treated sometimes. It's just terrible. I mean, it breaks my heart when I hear things like that. So that's definitely the first thing I would want to do. So what we would probably need, in my opinion, is that we need a group of people, right? Maybe like leaders for each of these little functions, like in the government, where that person who heads this, let's say it's for people who are, we're talking about crimes against women, children, and elderly, right? So you've got to have two main people. One person is the one who's very passionate about the cause and is going to give the direction of how it works, right? The other person is the one who handles everything from a monetary perspective. So, and again, when I say that, the reason I'm saying that is you cannot put money in the hands of somebody. And, when money comes into, when you get a lot of money and a lot of power, sometimes that that greediness or that corruption starts evolving, right? It's just something that happens. And again, it takes a lot from each of us not to be that way, right? You've got to literally be internally wired not to be someone who cheats and then who gives into corruption. So that's my thought. One. The second thing would be on the this is something that is from a renter's perspective, right? Owners and renters' perspective. You've got to make sure that the owners as well have a set rules of they can have you would have seen it a lot of time. People put boards vegetarians only or families only, no bachelors, there are no single ladies. So I'm like, what is wrong with you? You're getting your money. They're giving you rent. What more do you want?
You need nice people. That's all it takes. Maybe one board which says need nice tenants.
That's it. Just nice tenants. Because see, I get that people sometimes spoil the place. Like we gave our place for rent, and it was really a mess when we got it back, our apartment, because before we got married, my husband picked, we bought this house, and initially we were not going to stay here because we bought it as soon as we got engaged, and then we gave it out for rent. So that's a sad reality. But then you've got to have stricter rules for that, right? You have a stricter deposit. You make sure that you give your rules very clearly. But it can't be for things like you should only be vegetarian, non-vegetarian, not allowed, Yivu, and all of that. That's something that I would say should be looked at, right? So the main norm should be A, are you good tenants? B, do you agree with the amounts that you're going to pay and things like that? And other things are just unless it's worse, right? There are some things that happen that is not really great, right? So you've got to keep an eye for that. But I'm talking about like small things like this, like no bachelors, no single ladies, no like if people are working, if let's say there are there are bachelors who are living, then they won't like them having parties also in their house. So I'm like, ye kya hai bhai? The whole point of having the house is so you can have a party.
Good. Yeah, I think there are still a lot of stereotypes. In the city itself, forget about villages and cities where people have to open up and then be available for such things. And that's one reason. Like I've seen a lot of people are now elderly who are moving into renting their place. Where they feel that the house is too large They're also accommodating like paying guests. They're open to
Yeah.
like Airbnb and inviting
Yeah.
new people, new
Yeah.
visitor every time, because it makes their life exciting. Just connect it that
Exactly.
way, so that it's giving them livelihood after they retire, and also utilizing the space. And for the visitors, travelers, whom we say Atiti Devo Bhava, is also getting a place where there are warmer people rather than a staff who's
Yeah.
just working as a job. So yeah, it makes sense. So good
Yeah.
ideology, good way of thinking you have. I'm
And
sure
two more things.
Yeah, please.
Just to, if you don't mind. So so I had four things that I want to talk about. Two I spoke about.
Okay.
The third one is I feel the education system, right, needs to include a lot of more practical stuff, right?
Hmm.
I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, I have no clue what that theorem has taught me in current life. It has done me no good.
Yeah.
Let me just say that it has done me no good. And I felt like a dud because I hated math. I still hate math. I don't like
Yeah.
math. I'm a science. I love science. I hate math. So, and ironically, my best friend is a whiz in math. She loves math. So she's the reason why I passed. Okay,
Okay.
because she helped me study for my boards when I had to. So I feel like our education system needs to have more practical stuff. One that will be used. So first off, they've got to instill into kids how to be a good human being, right? That's the main thing. And of course, parents have a bigger role to play in that, but it starts from there. How do you be a good human being? How do you make sure you're a good citizen? How do you make sure you're a good person who lives in a community, right? How do you respect everybody, not just women, the LGBTQI group, everyone? How do you respect them? Teach respect. Teach. That's one thing. So the good part needs to be there. And the second thing I want to include into our education system is financial planning. For when you start getting into that college years, how do you start instilling financial planning into kids, the young generation, right? I know all along, right? It was the duty of our parents or our grandparents or whoever it is, right, to teach that to us. But really, is that the only way you're supposed to get that knowledge, right? If somebody could teach you like much earlier in your life that, hey, this is how you should start saving, this is what you should be doing, when you start working, do this, and eventually we'll all have really well settled youth, right? People who know how to manage their money. If you hear, right, as we were growing up, and I heard that in one of the sessions you said you're a millennial as well, just like me. So there are lots of people who when we were growing up said these millennials don't even know how to manage their money. But there are so many millennials like you and I who really know how to manage our money. So just because we like to spend a little bit on things that we love doesn't make us people who are not thoughtful about the way we're spending our money. So that's one thing I definitely want to add into the education system. The last one was on the more awareness over the LGBTQ community, right? More awareness, more inclusion. We've got to be more inclusive and more opportunities for them, right? For them to be a part of the community, not just be in one place. You remember in the olden days, they used to have their own area that they would stay in. Very funny. I find it very hilarious that
Very odd, yeah.
somebody would have thought of having them in a different place than everybody else, right? So it should start becoming a very common thing that we live in a tolerant world. So that's my, at least that's my hope for the future. I'm sure someday we will get there. A lot of people, like you and me, who are raising our kids, hopefully we're going to raise them right. We're going to teach them the right things, and the world gets into a wonderful place to be, right? That's what I'm hoping for.
Good point.
Yeah. So now you can.
Yeah. So yeah, regarding this, I think if we really want inclusions, some lawmakers should make changes. Like for example, if you're having a gated community, make sure you at least have 5%. This is where the reservation system should come up. instead of caste, things until this becomes normal, include that and take it away once it stabilizes. Have certain portion for them in every community so that it's like spread out. That's when people will be inviting, hey, we are looking, it is mandatory by rule, why don't you come and join us, stay with us, we'll give you the property at 20% discount. And education, I agree, because we're not studying it. It's not that we're got away with education after we pass out. Now you have a son, you have to teach him, and then you have to teach your grandkids also. So education, as one of the guests mentioned, it's like a threefold thing. It doesn't stop with our graduation. You have to teach the kids and grandkids too. You have to help them in their education. So good points, Richa. Nice conversation, and thank you for sparing your birthday for us. That was really insightful, very energetic, very bubbly. So keep up your good work, and your community service thought process of involving everybody, positivity, and ensuring that everybody thinks positively. Not to let anybody down, pulling somebody down or cheating somebody. I think these messages are very strong. So keep continuing your good work. Do well in whatever you're doing. Safeguard others from your high heels, and ensure that you keep us involved in any of the activities where we can contribute as individuals, at least to be accompanying them. So all the best, do well, and thanks for taking time out. Enjoy your birthday to the fullest. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thanks, Ravi. Thanks for having me here. Like I said, this is amazing what you're doing. There are so many people I know are getting motivated, right? There are so many people who have been into depression because of the lockdown. They don't have people to talk to. There are people I know a lot of people who live alone, away from their families, right? At least a few of us are blessed to have our families around us. But there are lots of people who stay alone, live alone, and because of work, they need to, provide for their families and things like that. So I know this is helpful, right? So to everybody who's, who's dealing with anything tough, just remember, you just need to talk, find someone who listen to you, right? If you want, just drop me a message as well. I'll try and connect with you. But yeah, find someone, talk to them, because a lot of things that you're thinking, which may seem like the end of the world, are not really the end of the world. You will still survive. Just remember to take it one day at a time. We are going to eventually create our own better world, right? That's because you are the person who can make that change. So just go ahead and remember to talk, try and talk. Don't just keep it all bottled up.
Sure. So, Richa is also welcoming any thoughts. Anybody want to connect, talk, she's welcoming. So, do follow her YouTube channel, Richa Fell. I'll share the details down below. So, do follow her, and yeah, it's always good to have inspiring people like us, inspiring friends, and that's all about this particular channel, creating inspiring friends around you. So, thank you, friends. Have a great day. Thank you, Richa. Enjoy your rest of the birthday. Have fun.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.
Thank you.